Welcome to English Lesson 10. Let's try to understand what is past perfect continuous tense. I think we already learned present perfect continuous and other continuous, and might you have remember. If you didn't, you can try to check out all videos in below description. So past perfect continuous tense describes some action or event that is started in the past before a certain point in the past and continuing up to the specific point or certain point. Let me tell you in simple word, some kind of thing that was happening or that had been happening until another action occurred or interrupted or happened. So let me give you one example. Before I give you example, I want to try to help you with these three different points that I have already described in simple words. Some actions in the past. So action or situation begin before a specific point in the past. This is what I have mentioned earlier. Second, they are continuing up to the certain point. It means the actions or situations they are continuing without any interruption to a certain point or any event in the past. And lastly, another action or event they are happening or they are interrupting, right? Often the past perfect continuous is used to or used in a relation to another action or event in the past, which might have interrupted the ongoing action or occurred after it had been happening for some time. Let me give you a few examples in order to understand or comprehend better. Let's say I've been teaching or I had been teaching, not I've been teaching. That's a mistake actually. When we say I have been, so you have to use I had. That's a helping verb we are going to understand also. So I had been teaching batch 1 before the batch 2 arrived. There are more examples for you. Julia had been studying for 3 hours before the exam started. The action of studying started before a specific point in the past, and then continuing up and carried on or keep going to that point. This is how we are going to understand. In the second example, we had been waiting in the cafe for a half hour when the coffee finally arrived. The action of waiting began before a certain time in the past and continuing until coffee arrived. This is how I mentioned already. Let's try to pause this video and make some sentences. I would like to ask you to create at least 2 sentences regarding this structure, right? Or if still you want to wait for the structure, so let's go here, structure. Once you understand, and then you can create some sentences. It'll be really easy for you. Kind of easy peasy, right? So, sentence structure. First of all, you have to understand even you're talking subject he, she, it, or I, we, you, they. Always you have to use had been, right? That's it. In the first affirmative or positive sentence structure formula, they are telling you subject, had been, past participle, and object. There are a few things to understand. First, you have to put together that's called helping verb, had been. Second, past participle. So past participle actually it's the third form of the verb. Same like speak, spoke, spoken. So spoken is actually past participle. You can always use past participle when you talk about perfect tenses. Alright? And second, we are going to create negative sentences. Subject had not been, past participle, object, or etc. According to the sentences as you want. But these are main starting structure you have to keep in mind. And interrogative, had subject been, past participle, on object. Don't worry, I would like to tell you in examples one by one in next pages. Last two things you have to understand really carefully. I have already explained. If you have been following me on YouTube, so you might know I have explained this two type of things: hadn't and had subject not. So might be you have been confused, but when you say hadn't subject been past participle, you're making negative interrogative, but it's more common to use in our speaking, but it's informal. Talking about had subject not been past participle, it's less common, but it's really formal way to ask in negative way. But I suggest you to use hadn't subject. It's informal, but really common. People use a lot. So definitely you have to care about informal and formal situations. That'll be great. Now, if you would like to take a look at it and try to pause a video and create your own sentences, I'll allow you. It'll be great practice for you to understand past perfect continuous tense. Moving to a few sentences to understand each part we have learned in a structure, affirmative or positive, in simple words. I will try my best to help you in simple. I put in simple word in order to help you understand everything I'm telling you. So Rudy had been waiting for an hour before the school bus finally arrived. So in this case, he actually had been waiting. It was the first action was keep going in the past. Another action happened until the another action happened. That was simple. They had been procrastinating on submitting the bill the until they were charged late fee. So it's depend how you're connecting two sentences. Adding before, adding which, adding so, adding until. That's a really interesting practice. I hope someday we will create one topic, or we are going to have another lesson on it. I will help you. Negative. My aunt hadn't been maintaining the garden properly, which plants led to the plants dying. So definitely she hadn't been, taking care of them. So at the end of the day, another action was destroying them. Alina hadn't been managing her time wisely. Alina hadn't been managing her time wisely, so she missed the project deadline. So we used here so, and in our previous sentence we use which, and even previous we used definitely was until and before. So that's how you're going to understand how to create. Still, I will give you more different type of sentences. I'm sure you understand with negative and going with interrogative. Had they been saving money for their vacations before they decided to cancel? We added two actions as the same, but this time we added subject first. Before subject we added only had. Remember, you don't need to say hadn't been they. You have to say had they been. That's the accurate way to create sentences. That's it. Has she been cooking until the guests arrived? Yeah, that's simple way to ask. So negative interrogative, that's two different ways as we have learned. Hadn't she been cooking until the guests arrived? Or had she not been cooking until the guests arrived? Here we use had not, and in the second we use not between the subject and another part of the helping verb been. Right? So you have to take it mind and keep it mind. I mean, try to pause the video in each part of it and try to create a few sentences. And I'm 100% sure you're able to understand this tense. Finally, you have to understand interesting part of every grammar tense we have already studied many times. I would like to just ask you to take a look at and read, and you'll be understand. For example, yes, no, and open-ended questions. When you talk about yes, no, you're talking about just giving answer simply. For example, um, have you have you have you had dinner? Like, I'm just giving you other example, not regarding, have you had dinner? Let's say. So you can say yes or no. But when you say, why haven't you had dinner? Or why had she been cooking until the guests arrived? So this means you have to give detail. You have to give reason why. Why exactly? I'm sure you're understanding all of them. I recommend you to read it in simple words and it'll help you to understand. I'm sure I already made it clear by giving simple example by myself. Next page is for you exercise first. There are only 5 simple words or sentences, or let's say a lot of new expressions or new verbs. You're going to use them and create a full sentence. She read a book all evening. Try to connect in the past perfect continuous. Rewrite them. How do you rewrite? This is a really interesting part. So Ulia, they, we, I, So Ulia play football since morning. So now you have to say Ulia had been playing, right? That's how you're going to start creating. As much as you would like to add your own words, no worries. It'll be great practice for you. My each lesson can help you to understand complete lesson of we are talking. So we are talking past perfect continuous. So I designed the tense which I help you from this part and structure this you'll be able to understand until the end lesson. That's what I promise. All right, pause the video and start doing. That's your homework and that's your exercises. Next is second exercise. You have to fill in the blanks with the correct form of the verb in the past perfect continuous tense. By the time she arrived, dash for her an hour. It's the really simplest exercise in this lesson. Again, I recommend to pause this video and start about thinking and trying to make whole sentence. And the speaking practice number 1. Don't worry, we have a more for you. In this one, you have to just answer. For example, how long had you been waiting for a train before it finally arrived? So I had been waiting for a train for half an hour, for example. This is how you're going to create answer. Think about it, reply. It'll be also awesome practice for you. Lastly, you have a speaking practice 2. You have to think about these pictures, small pictures, and use past perfect continuous tense and create a few sentences. There are a few words I gave you, maybe only a few regarding these pictures. If you have more words, deep thinking of these pictures, you are allowed to use it and it will be great for you. And it will be great for me to listen. Maybe if you are even commenting below, right? That's what I will suggest you. First of all, thanks for watching video and like, share, subscribe if you want more lessons. If you would like to comment us your all new homework regarding this exercise, we have 4 exercises in the end. Maybe I will ask you to take a look at and try to write below or practice by your own. That's all from our today's lesson. I really hope you're going to enjoy and we'll be meeting you in our next lesson. Till then, take care of yourself and love you guys. Bye.